These are the fig trees I'm taking to Fig A Rama this year. I have more trees, but we're having another fig event next month. So I'll be taking some also there. This one here is Little Miss Figgy, Eretabe's Delight. Oh yes, this is a good tree. Celeste, Rockaway Green, narrow 600M, narrow 600M. So these are the trees that I'm taking to Fig A Rama this year. I have other varieties, but they're not grown well. So at least by next month, it will be ready for the fig event for next month. But this is what is going with me to Fig A Rama today, this morning. Okay, this is the entrance of the Fig A Rama event. Look at that. Okay. Now, there are people there already, and we are still waiting for more people to come. We are excited this year. We're hoping that there will be more people because this is a new place. We're using a recreation club venue for a subdivision in Norcross, Georgia. You see, we're still waiting for some people to come, but we're about to start. And this is going to be good. Wow. And that is Costa, the organizer or the host of this event. How you doing, Mr. Costa?
Hey, Ben. Good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you for hosting us this year.
Well, co-host.
Co-host, yes, co-host.
Kente as well, yeah.
Yeah, so what are we expected to see today in this event?
Today, we have a lot of new people that have come, and some veterans too. So we'll see. We're just here to socialize, make new friends, and share in all the fig goodness.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're about to get started.
Okay.
They're in buckets like that.
Yeah.
This is my first time Mustang.
Hello, Kinte. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You are one of the co-hosts of this event.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
What are we expecting to see today?
So I'm going to talk about drip irrigation. Costa is going to talk about just Fig 101 basics. We'll have a couple raffles. We have a bowl to raffle off. We have some plant tags to raffle off, as well as figs. We'll have a Q&A at the end. We'll have some lunch, and just everybody here's to learn.
That's good. That's good. Well, we are glad to be here today.
Glad you could make it.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
It's a big commitment.
All right, everybody.
About to get started right now.
Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me? Okay, everybody, welcome. So happy to have you here. This is our 6th annual Fig A Rama event. And how many of of you raise your hand if this is your first year for Fix at the Rama?
Wow.
So well over half of you. That's awesome. I love it. I'm Costa Everidopoulos, one of the co-hosts, and this is Kinte. He's also co-hosting. He's been at this a lot longer than I have. We normally host this event. Historically, we've hosted it in Athens. Well, actually, technically Watkinsville, which is just outside of Athens. This year we weren't able to do that, so I stepped up. This is my neighborhood, by the way. I live about a block from here. So I was able to secure this space for us for today so we could have this wonderful event. So just a little bit on the logistics. First of all, some housekeeping. For those of you that aren't aware, the bathroom is behind us. There's a pathway you'll see. If you head at the end of the lot, there's a little bridge that goes over the creek. Just follow that pathway, you'll see the pool, and the bathroom is right next to the pool. There's a little building there, you'll find it. So just make sure you close the gate, but don't lock it when you come out, because then no one else can get in. Let's see, what else? Logistics. So the agenda for today, we're going to have a couple of talks. So I'm going to talk about FIGS 101. Kinte's going to talk about irrigation, and then we'll have lunch around 12 o'clock-ish. So I've got some ham sandwiches that I'm going to run home and get, and then we'll just, we'll have lunch. And you can of course, we encourage you to mingle. That's what this whole event is about. I've made tons of friends at this event. So that's what it's about. You can do trades if you want to do some swaps, do those as well. And then after lunch is the big white elephant giveaway. So that's the table behind registration there. And so Kinte will talk about the rules and how that's going to work here in a minute. What else? There's going to be Q&A at the end after the white elephant giveaway, and then you're free to disperse. I did want to mention there's two other events similar to this, not quite the same, coming up. One is going to be at the end of August, August 30th. It's going to actually be at Elena's place, right, sitting in the back there raising her hand. So it's going to be on her farm, farm to be. She's work in progress. But we're very grateful that she's hosting that. And that's in West Georgia, so it's in Carrollton, if you know where that is, very close to the Alabama border. And then there's another event in Chattanooga called Fig Frolic, and that's in September 13th, I believe. Yeah. So if you're interested in that, just one of us will share the information on where you can find that, or where you can find the registration, sorry. And then what else? One resource I want to say, and I was going to kind of cover this in my talk, but if you haven't already, rfigs.com, there's a really large following, a lot of veteran growers, people that have been growing figs for 30, 40 years. I encourage you to get out there, register, and there's just a wealth of knowledge. I made a ton of friends on there as well, and I've also learned every day, by connecting with other experts out there. So, got a few words?
All right. Hi, guys. As Costa mentioned, my name is Kinte Taylor. I'm one of the co-hosts. And along with the white elephant, So along with the white elephant, we have two other raffles. One, a person who couldn't be here, Kerwin, is offering 20 laser engraved plant tags in one of four colors, green, red, blue, or black. So there'll be a separate raffle for this. And then a separate raffle for a handmade bowl. Okay? So I will begin my talk about drip irrigation. How many of you hand water? Okay? How long does it take you when you're hand watering your trees? Too long, right? Exactly. So every year I go away for a month to the southern part of Switzerland, and I can't water, obviously, when I'm 6,000 miles away. Last year I let the people watch my house water. That didn't go well. I came back to some crispy, crunchy trees that I was very unhappy about. This year, I set up an irrigation system, but I had a scale problem right before I left. So Elizabeth back there went every couple weeks to spray down my trees for me. And like as we were driving here, she's like, I was so stressed about like your trees. Like if I killed them, like you would just be done with figs because that's the way you are. So because of my issues with watering last year, I decided to go with a drip irrigation system. And everybody have one of these. I forgot to link the products on the website, and I'll do that Monday when I get back onto a computer. So everything I talk about here, I have links to. If you're interested, you could go see them. So the picture on the front is my greenhouse. This is at the beginning of the season, right after I set up the irrigation system. It is an absolute jungle now. I came back from Switzerland, and I could barely walk to the back of the greenhouse. So it works. The irrigation system works. So the main things that you need to have for your irrigation system is a proximity to water, whether it be a pump or mine is actually just running out of the spigot off the back of my house. I use PVC. I ran PVC, and on the first page, it shows where that orange dot is where my water is, and I ran that red line back to the back of my greenhouse, set it on an angle, and put 3 outlets up top, and then ran 4 lines into the greenhouse. So I have 5 rows that are getting irrigated inside the greenhouse. The main line is 3/4 inch PVC. I went from the spigot to PVC to run the main line. The emitter line is a 1/2 inch tubing, like the Rainbird tubing that you see at Home Depot. You guys know what I'm talking about? That's the main line. And then I have emitters that go from the emitter line into a drip ring. So when you are running your line, you need to determine how much gallons per hour, depending on the length. So I put a little chart. So the maximum length for 3/4 inch is 480 feet. I am nowhere near close to 480 feet. But I found this chart after I did it. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least I didn't serve my trees. Moving on to the second page. I'm tired of manual watering, so I have a sprinkler system set up, a sprinkler timer set up. I have a more advanced one. It's Wi-Fi. I can check it wherever I am. I could turn it on. I could turn it off. They also have ones that, just are battery operated that you stick on your hose. Whatever is easiest for you, whatever works for you, I suggest. From there, you go into a backflow preventer. So if you're running fertilizer through that drip line, it doesn't back up into your water source. From there, you go into a filter to filter out any, larger particles that will plug up your emitter line. And then you need a water pressure regulator, so you're getting constant pressure to all the lines at once. I also put this optional calcium inhibitor because Savannah has really hard water, really, really, really hard water. So last year, before I set the timers and everything, looking at the emitters from last year, there's all calcium caked around the emitter lines. So I found this, and this was just my stopgap. I'm going to put a better irrigation system, or not irrigation, a better calcium filter probably next season, but I just needed something pretty fast. And then I have mine going, since I am running an actual irrigation timer, I have mine going into 2 zones where the inline valves tie into the irrigation line. So one zone is my main zone, which has all my potted plants. I've tried to start to standardize all my plants. Everything is in a 10-gallon potted plant. And everything has a drip ring with 6 emitters, and the emitter I have is a 2 gallon per hour emitter. For me, what's worked out for me is I run the timer 10 minutes at 7 a.m. and 10 minutes at 7 p.m., and my trees have been happy. It may be different based on your soil, but the soil mix that I use, those 10 and 10, I've had 0 problems. If I look at the tree like midday and if they're really droopy, I might run it for another 10 minutes at noon, but normally the 10 and 10 has been fine for me. So for the emitter line in zone 1, you go with the 1/2-inch tubing, and then at the end of that 1/2-inch tubing, you have a cap. There's 2 different types of caps that you have. You can have the compression clamp or just a regular end cap. There's a vast price difference in the two. It just depends on how much you want to spend on the whole system. I have a 2 gallon per hour emitter, because that was the most that they had when I actually got these emitters. Now I think I looked the other day and they have ones that are 6 gallons per hour. But it's been working for me the way it is, so I don't feel like that I need to change anything. I thought about it, but why mess with something that works? From that emitter, it goes into an 1/8-inch tubing, and that 1/8-inch tubing goes into a drip ring. You could buy these drip rings from Drip Depot pre-made, but I just got the parts and made the ones myself. It was cheaper that way to do them myself, and it doesn't take that much longer to do them yourself. And that way I made sure that each pot had the same number of emitters per pot. So when I run my system, theoretically, everything is getting the same amount of water the entire time for the 10 minutes. I have a second zone, and the second zone is where I have all my cuttings. Most of my cuttings are, well, all of them are in 4x9 tree pots. And the only things that have changed are the emitters and the drip stakes that I'm using. So I have these manifolds that go from 4 or 2 different outlets, and I try and put 4 outlets on a 2 gallon per hour emitter, so it makes it 1/2 gallon per pot emitter, because I like everything to be the same. It makes my life easier, so I know everything is theoretically getting watered exactly the same way. I'm not the type of person who likes to baby things. Like, if you die, you die. It is what it is. I prefer for them not to die, because that's funny, just that's gone, but it happens. One of the trees that I was going to bring here, I looked at it yesterday morning, or I looked at it 2 days ago. It started to look a little droopy, so I hit it with some water. I looked at it again yesterday. I'm like, oh, you're more than droopy. I don't think you're going to make it. So I put that one aside. Some additional things that you'll need if you're setting up PVC is a hose PVC coupling, obviously PVC elbows, PVC tees, a tube cutter or utility knife or scissors, a drip tubing hole punch. Like, I have one that's like a little thumb punch, and after punching like 100 holes, your thumb gets a little tired. So I think next year I'm going to get one that is just like a crank. Can use some barb couplings, some barb tees, some elbows, and some garden stakes to hold down your actual tubing so it doesn't move around when watering or when you're walking through or around. But that's my setup. Pretty straightforward and simple. It saves me a lot of time. If I want to water it, I don't take the hose. I just go on my app and I turn it on and I set my timer on my phone for however long I want to water, and I turn it back off. Good to go. Pretty much all I have. Questions? Yes.
Dustin Yang, first year big grower. Do you have any pressure requirements for the regulator?
I didn't do that.
Okay.
I mean, originally you're supposed to check to see what your water pressure is. I was too lazy. So I just got the pressure regulator at 25 PSI because that's pretty much what, like, everything I've read said at 25 PSI, and it seems to be fine. They have other pressure regulators that are higher and lower as well, and it may just depend on how, your water's coming out.
Most houses probably have about 60 to 75 PSA running. Some are higher than that. And the pressure regulator at 25 PSI, I set mine typically, if I turn it on manually, about 22, 23, 24. And that way it stays under. And you can buy those pressure regulators. They're not very expensive. Get the one with the, basically there's like oil inside of the glass. And, but typically a home will run about 60 to 75. If you don't use the pressure regulator, you're gonna have problems. Because what's gonna happen is the emitters are gonna pop out of the tubing and all that.
Yes. What expense should one expect to pay to have a setup like yours?
Okay, so expense-wise, so I got a no-name, timer off of Amazon Prime Day. It was like $50 for the timer. The backflow preventer, the filter, and the inline valve range between 10 and 20 each. The pressure regulators, I got those, 2 of them for $10 off of Amazon. The calcium inhibitor was $20 for 2 off of Amazon. The end cap, I think they were $5 each, but the compression clamps are like 3 for $4. Really depends on the way you want to go. The emitters are sold in packs in groups of 10, and I think they're like 25 cents each or something like that. I'll link all this to the website, and it has the prices and where you can get everything. I'm just going off the top of my head. For the drip ring, I bought 100 stakes alone. I bought like $100 or $200 or feet of emitter line to do it myself because it was cheaper to do it myself. My thumbs were a little sore, but it was cheaper than having them done for me. But yeah, when I get back to the computer, I'll link that. Or I'll even send an email out to everybody, so you have the direct link as well with everything.
Thank you, sir.
So speaking of price, I have like 2 different sets that I bought. I have a kind of a high end from Drip Depot, and it came in a kit and it was about $200. But then I also, for my bonsai, that's for my raised beds. But for my bonsais, I bought a really cheap from Amazon. It was only like $60. They both do just as fine. They both work properly. So kind of price-wise, you can go anywhere from low end, $60 does the job, all the way up to like, $200 for kind of higher end kind of thing.
My first system that I put in, I bought like everything from Home Depot, like all the Rainbird stuff off of Home Depot, and then I switched over I completely redid it at the beginning of this season, the entire, running all the lines. I pulled everything out except for the PVC and reran new lines. Normally the tubing is black, but I was thinking, well, if I got white tubing, theoretically the water shouldn't be so hot, or as hot, sitting with the tube sitting in the sun. I haven't really tested to see if it was cooler, but that's how I thought. Any other questions? All right, well, my name and my email are on the front, and all of you probably have gotten emails from me anyway. So if you have any questions at any time, and you all probably have my phone number now too, text me, email me, send me a message on Facebook, and I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kente. All right. So one thing I forgot I mentioned, online communities earlier. So there's artfigs.com. There's also another one that I forgot to mention, which is figfanatics.com. That's more a newer group that's kind of up and rising, so it doesn't have as many members. But if you want to go crazy, sign up for both. But the larger amount of members and people, the more established community is on our Figs. That's OURfigs.com. And I'm a moderator on there. We also have August, guy in the yellow chair there, and myself are admins for a brand new group called Figs of Atlanta on Facebook. So if you search for a Facebook group, check that out and find us on there. So that's where you can learn a lot about events like this, make new friends online and connect with people and share knowledge and all of that goodness, right?
Now, when you ask a question, you're going to get many different answers. And you've got to kind of sort through and figure out which one is the correct answer.
Yeah.
But again, people do things differently. I root my cuttings differently than Costa roots, and I've tried the way he roots, and it doesn't work for me.
Exactly. Yeah, so that is a great segue into my next talking point, which is, I've been growing for about 10 years, but really like serious growing for like the last 2 years. So the first 8 years I was casually, ignorance is bliss, right? But I am of the firm belief in everything I do in life, not just with figs, that there is no one expert that knows everything, right? It's impossible for one person to know it all on this planet. So that's why I truly love these types of events and meeting people. It's the collective knowledge that we share, right? And it's the continuous learning that we get, and it's all the cool friends that we get to make too. So that's what I truly love about events like this is, connecting with each and every one of you. So thank you for coming out and sharing your time with us today, sharing our passions together, right? So I don't have anything formal to talk about, but I wanted to talk about like basics. I know some of you have been at it a while, but I want to know how many of you raise your hand. You're just getting started. You consider yourself a beginner. Okay, so roughly half of you. Good. So this topic will be quite relevant. So for those of you that didn't raise your hand, again, based on what I just said, it's the collective knowledge, right? I am not the only expert in this room, right? There are lots of you that have other perspectives, right? Like Kente said, especially with rooting, which we'll talk about. Rooting is very, some people say, it's easy. Well, sort of. There's probably over 50 different methods. If you include all the little tiny permutations, like use this type of water versus that, there's probably hundreds of ways that you can root cuttings. And no method, I don't care what anybody says, no method is guaranteed has a 100% success rate. You're always going to have some, even if it's 1% fail. For me, I average around 70% success rate. But last season, I went crazy and I tried 30 different root methods. So I'll cover that a little bit. Because it was intentional. I attempted over 264 cuttings. And again, that was intentional because I did a dozen with this batch method and a dozen with this method and so on, and took copious notes, and it was an experiment for me. But again, if Kente or any one of you were to do that same experiment, you would have completely different results, right? So again, what methods work? People say, Costa, what's the best method for rooting? That's an impossible question to answer. The best method is the one that you decide, that you determine through your own trial and error, through your own experiments, right? You can share, but if you're just starting out, you got to start somewhere, right? You have to have a basis to say, okay, I'm going to try method 1 or I'm going to try methods number 17. Okay, so that's what we're here to share today. So first of all, why figs? Anyone? We'll take a couple from the group. Why, if you've been at it a while, let's talk to some people that have been growing a while. What's the big deal about figs? Yeah. What? Tastes good. Okay.
Well, I'm new to this, so I didn't know you were going to start, but I think it's because there's just so many of them.
So many of them.
It's like a collection. You want to grow. It's more of acquiring the figs, but also the taste, of course.
The taste. Yep. Anybody else want to share?
And
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Disease free, like
Yes, that's another great.
less pest pressure, like disease free.
Disease free? Okay.
I mean, not like other stone fruits.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I get some. Over here, somebody?
So I remember Grandma's fig preserves.
Grandma's fig preserve. Okay.
And then when I started researching how to grow figs, I found out there were so many different varieties.
Different varieties. Yep.
I was like, well, that's intriguing.
Yeah, that's great. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, behind you, Ben. No, okay, I was talking to Ben.
Okay.
Ben has a YouTube channel, by the way, so that's what he's. You're going to be famous.
I think it's a superfood and medical benefits, you know.
Medical benefit?
Why figs? Like what got you?
Okay.
So for me,
Kente.
I am when I find a new hobby. So when I find a new hobby, like I'm all in. I'm all in. Like I go from like 1 to 400 like in months. So that's kind of what happened with figs with me. I'm like, oh. And then like if I find a group where people do the same thing I do, it gets worse. It gets worse.
I'm the same way. So, for those of you that don't know, you know, I'm a big data geek, so I love history and facts and, you know, how did things originate. So figs started 11,000 years ago, was the first known recorded, you know, probably some cave drawing or something of somebody, you know, recognizing. So figs have been around 11,000 years, guys. And for those that don't know, there are over 5,000 varieties out there. Half of those are in the U.S. The other half are outside the U.S. So, but still, that's about 2,500 varieties available to you here in the U.S. The others we can't get because of USDA regulations. So, anyway, that's why I got into it, right? So I started going down the rabbit hole like Kente because there are different people out there that have that talk about flavor profiles. So are you familiar with how many does anyone know how many flavor profiles there are out there? Let's ask that. Any guesses? Kente. No, I'm talking about the deep off the deep end flavor. Yeah, there's three main ones, right? There's honey, sugar, and berry. Those are like at the top of the pyramid. But then there's like all these other ones that fall underneath that. How many think it's over 12? How many think it's 12 flavors? Nobody? A few? How many think it's 30?
I'll do it again.
100?
Okay, fine. Yeah, what was that?
55 flavor profiles. And again, that's not official. That's somebody put together a flavor profile wheel. That's actually a member on our figs that put it together. So there's some, I don't know how to pronounce it properly. It's Hizbat is a banana flavored variety. It's the only one that I know of that tastes like bananas, which is crazy for a fig to taste that way. But it sounds yummy. So that's why I went down the rabbit hole, was I want to taste all 55 of those flavor profiles. Honey berry, berry sugar, watermelon, peach, Concord grape, you know, so many. Cherries. So, yeah, lots.
I think the variety is a knob, or you take off the banana.
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah. Hizbat mine. Yep. How many have I tried? Not enough. Probably, out of the flavor profiles, maybe a dozen-ish. So not many, yeah. So I started 10 years ago, I had 4 trees. And even up until 2 years ago, remember I said the last 2 years is when I really went all in. I went off the deep end like Kente. So 2 years ago, I had four trees. And today I have about 160 trees. So, and I grow in containers. We'll talk a little bit about that, in-ground versus pots. Somebody had a question though over here first.
I was just going to say, don't leave out texture. I mean, seed crunch,
Of course, yeah.
gaminess, all the rest of it.
Yeah, people like fig connoisseurs, talk about, seed crunch and the chewiness of the skin and the texture and all of those things. So that's when you really get into serious pig tasting. So, yeah.
So that 65 profiles, is that,
55.
how many?
55.
55, is that worldwide? Is that a worldwide
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
Yeah.
So in the US,
I don't
30
know how
maybe?
many- I assume
30.
those are available in the US. That's a good question. I
You
don't
know, and they find new ones in California all the time, so it
Right.
changes.
There
It
are
adds
some
to that
sketchy ones out there,
55,
like the-
yeah.
There's some sketchy ones that are not true, like the LSU cherry bomb.
And then, so
That's a scam.
in Europe also, like I said, I've gone off the deep end. So when I'm in Europe, like I can spot a fig tree for miles. I'm like, there's a fig tree over there, and people are like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's right there, it's right there. And they're just like everywhere. They grow out of rocks.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you have like just a tree in our backyard, how hard is it to figure out what variety is it?
It's very hard. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of people, I see a lot of people online posting, the question was, how do I identify a fig tree if it's an unknown, if I don't know? It's extremely difficult, and the only true way is with DNA testing. Yeah. And DNA testing, it's $200, so, for some of you, that's not a lot of money. For most of you, it's probably a little too much to test the fig. But it is there, and it is an option. There's a company in California that does it. So if anyone is interested in that, I can share that with you. But looking at the leaf alone is impossible. Looking at now if you have the fruit, but it has to be a third-year fruit, not the first or second-year fruit, because throw that away, right? You don't really know their true nature until they get to their third season. So then you might have a little bit of chance, but it's very, very tough. Now there are some exceptions to it, like Violet de Bordeaux, VDB for short. That one has a very unique, it's like a diamond-shaped leaf pattern. It's the only one that I know of. Am I right? That has that unique. So that's an exception, but all the others is hard. So one of the reasons I got into, so I'm Greek, by the way. My parents were born there. I was born here in the U.S. So I grew up surrounded by figs. We would go to Greece for family vacations, and when I was growing up, we would go for 3 months and play with the kids there, and figs figs coming up out of the sidewalk cracks, right, in Greece, because that's their ideal environment, right? We know, and for those of you that are new, really here in Georgia, we are the anti-climate for figs. So figs want to be in the climate that's in the Mediterranean. They want to be in a dry, right? No low humidity, not a lot of rain. Here we're the exact opposite, right? We're humid, we're rainy, but yet we're still at it. We're not going to give up, right? So that's another reason why this is important, is finding, if you're just starting out, I highly recommend, again, because you say pasta, 2,500 varieties, where do I start? Do I start with the fig flavor profile wheel? That's a good place. But also, some varieties are really ultra sensitive to humidity and a rainy environment here in Georgia. So I recommend, again, there's a list. I put a list out on the Figs Atlanta group, right? I did post it out there for 70 or 80 so varieties that grow extremely well in Georgia. So check that out. That's a great place to start. And you can look at those 80 varieties and say, okay, which of these have the same, because if 2 fig varieties have the same flavor, maybe I only want to pick one of those, right? I don't want to go too crazy. But that's a great place to start. Don't fight it, right? There's some varieties that specifically you will just spend money and people say, oh, this is a great variety. Yeah, in California, but not in Georgia, right? California's probably the best place to grow figs in the U.S. in terms of environment and climate, right? Georgia is not. It's one of the worst. But again, there's specific varieties that do well here in our climate with veteran growers that have been doing this for decades. So go with it, right? Go with that. Yeah. Chad, you had a question?
Well, some of those fig varieties grow better in North Georgia than in South
Yes,
Georgia.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, what Chad said, for those you couldn't hear, some varieties grow better even in North Georgia versus in South Georgia, right? believe south of Macon is 8B, zone 8B, and up here obviously we're zone 8A. So.
Savannah's 9 now.
Savannah's 9 now. Okay. Yeah, I think it is Savannah's 9. All right. One of the other things that's cool, because we got this question earlier, why figs? So another thing that's cool if you're into growing is, you know, versus like citrus trees, you know, apple trees, lemon, cherry. Does anyone have experience growing those things? Okay. Well, if you do, what happens? You buy it, you plant an apple tree in the ground, and how long do you have to wait for fruit? 5 years? 10 years? With figs, you get figs the same year you plant it. Not always, but it's possible. You can get the same year you plant. You can have. I have many first-year fig trees that have fruit already. That's cool. Another thing is figs are resilient. They will take punishment, and they will die back to the ground. I've had many, you know, that you just cut them all the way to the trunk, flush with the soil, and it goes 8 feet in one season, right? They're that strong and resilient. That's cool, right? Especially if you're just starting out and you make a lot of mistakes and you don't know what you're doing, they can take that punishment. So I thought that was pretty cool for me being starting out. All right, we talked about flavors, varieties. So another thing too, if you're just starting out, there's different types of figs. Now you won't run into it too much here in Georgia, but it's good to know. So what do we mean by common figs versus, you know, there's San Pedro, there's Smyrna, there's Capri figs. So Capri is a male fig, okay? And by the way, figs are not a fruit, they're actually a flower, for those of you that are new, okay? It's an inverted flower. You're eating flowers.
It has to ripen on the tree. If you pull it off the tree before it's ripe, it will never ripen.
Just like a flower,
and there's that finite amount of time where you can get to it before somebody else does, or it gets too soft.
And that's called hang time. So hang time is the moment that a fig first begins to ripen to the moment that it's at its absolute optimal picking for ripeness. And some figs have a hang time of like 3 days, that's super fast, and some have like 2 weeks. It takes really, really long. They're like really slow. And what happens with the slow ones is, you know, like Kinte said, you're fighting with the squirrels, you know, and other critters to get to them. So I'll talk about that in a minute too. Yeah, of course, most of you probably already know figs require a lot of sunlight. So the challenge I have in my space, I have a lot of shade, so I have to really strategically position my trees to maximize my sunlight. Let's see, propagation. So you can, I thought this was interesting. So you can grow fig trees from a seed, but nobody does it because the problem with that is it doesn't maintain the species. It doesn't maintain the variety. When you do that, you create a new species, a new variety. It's not going to be anywhere near the same as the parent. It's just kind of weird. So that's why 99% of us do use cuttings for propagation, right? So we get the little sticks, like I'll cover here in a minute, and we have probably 100 plus different methods for rooting, right? Which that's like a big topic online and everywhere. So, so one of the ways that that I got turned on to rooting is water rooting. So I initially got turned on to this with my uncles and my family in Greece. They are very big on water rooting. They put it in a cup and they have their very specific steps. And again, there's no one perfect way to do cuttings in water. Again, we're talking about completely immersed, soaked in water, not using no soil, right? Just water, just simply letting them sit in water and letting the roots grow, and then transitioning them to soil. That's it at a high level. What I have here is, this is like advanced water rooting, which is essentially hydroponics. Has anyone ever played around with hydroponics? Here, a couple of you? Great. Yeah, so it works, you know, and this is my favorite go-to way for me. And I brought, if you guys want to come up on the lunch break, take a a water line here that goes up about halfway up. There's a pump inside that is constantly oxygenating the water because that's critical for if you're water rooting, and it's continuously doing it. So you plug it in, and it continuously bubbles. It splashes water up on the bottom, and then a couple weeks later you get roots. So I'll lift this up as we come on the break, and you can kind of take a look, and you'll see it's just fully loaded with roots. The cool thing about this is that I've discovered some varieties like water rooting better than others. So this is not a foolproof method. No rooting method is foolproof, right? We said that at the beginning. And Ben here is also a big water rooter. So if you want to try water rooting, I highly recommend talking to him as well. He's an expert in this area. So you could, if you don't want to, this was $50 on Amazon. It was the cheapest one. I did just a little bit of research, and I figured this was just a $50 experiment. I didn't know how well it would work. And I love this thing. I get probably close to 80%, 90% success rate on this thing. The other cool thing with water rooting is I can create roots in about half the time. So if I'm doing it in soil cups or thick pop or some of these other methods, I might take 4 to 8 weeks to get roots. With this, I have roots in 2 weeks. That's pretty amazing. So, and not just a little, I'm not talking about just a little, I'm talking about, lift it up here. This was done 2 weeks ago. You'll see it is loaded with roots, almost to the bottom, full in just 2 weeks. It's just crazy, right? Now, I did alter, because through my experiments, I did try something different. So I used some of this stuff, which Kente turned me on to. It's a rooting hormone, but it's not your usual. I think it does have the IDA in it. It has some amino acids in it. So I did add this, and I think this is a bit of a game changer for water rooting. So you might want to consider that then. So I add this, and another thing that I do before I put it in here, which I use this stuff called Clonex. So if you've ever seen it, it's a rooting gel. And so this has a different type of hormone than this. So this combined with that, and so I'll score it and apply, not too much, I'll apply it with a paintbrush to where I scored it, and then drop it in there, and that's it. Just let it sit until it's thin. Now, the manufacturer of this recommends that you change the water out once a week. I'm lazy, so I do it every 2 weeks. It doesn't make a difference. It didn't affect the performance. So, but if you want to change it out weekly, that's fine. So, any questions on this? Yeah.
What big plant do you have in there right now?
In here?
Yeah. What are you growing right now?
Oh, there's probably 6 or 7 varieties.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
These are some Greek varieties and just some prunings that I took off of my trees. Yeah.
Do you run into issues of pulling it out with the roots snapping or getting wider than the plug?
No. Actually, that's a great question. The question was, do you run into any issues when you pull these out of the collar? So these have like a little foam neoprene collar on them that keep it snug and tight so the water doesn't come splashing out from the pump. I don't run into any problems with that, but it is a common one of the biggest challenges with any type of water rooting, whether you're using this or you do let a cutting sit in a cup for a while. When you do get the roots and you want to transition to soil, that's where you lose a lot. So you have to be, and so the pros of this, there's lots of pros, is because there's no soil, I don't have to deal with fungus gnats. Fungus gnats will kill your cuttings. You just throw them in the trash. No good. So with this, you won't have any fungus gnats. You don't have to deal with moisture levels, like, oh, is the soil too dry? I have to add a little. It takes care of itself. It's set it and forget it is what I call it. So that's huge in terms of time. But again, the challenge is when you go to transition to soil, then you just have to be very careful. And again, that's the learning part. Ben is actually a pro at doing it. So he has a YouTube channel where he has some really good tips on how to transition. Yeah.
You use distilled water, don't you?
That's a great question. So there's a lot of controversy. Some people say use tap water is okay, use distilled water. I tried both methods. I actually don't see a difference. Initially, I thought there was because I was doing water in a cup method, and I was having mixed results. But then when I switched to this, I tried both tap water and distilled, and to each his own. And you may have different results. You may find that some people say their tap water has too many hard minerals or things, but maybe some of those minerals are good, bad, depending on where you live. Over here, yeah, question?
About what percentage do you lose during transition?
That's a great question, yeah. The question is, how many do you lose? What's your success rate? So 80 to 90% in here to get roots, but then what's my success rate once I transition? It's about 50%. So I'll lose about half of them. But I'm getting better. I started worse than that, and I'm moving towards 50, 60%. So thanks to Ben. So Ben taught me some great methods. For the essence of time, I don't want to get in. We're running short, but yeah.
I just want to add a little bit. When you are, thank you. When you are rooting feed cuttings in water, allow the roots to become brown. If you uprot them when they are white, it is very, very tender. But allow them to become brown. Just like doing bare root, the roots are brown, and just put it in the soil. That is the problem. If you see it doing well, let the roots become brown. Sometimes I allow mine to be 2 months until I see the roots turn brown, or if most of it are brown. And then I put them in the soil, and then put them in a shady place for 1 or 2 or 3 weeks before you put it in the sun. Or if you want to put it in the sun, put it where you have morning sun for 1 hour or 2 hours. That will help it, because by then the root has acclimated to the soil, because you are taking it out from water to a new environment. So that's why it's good to leave it for a long time. Let the roots be brown, and then when you uprot it, leave it in a shady place for a while. Let it grow on its own. See new leaves. Then it can withstand the sun. If not, it will die.
So you leave it in the bucket until the roots are brown?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And also, I use soluble fertilizer for mine. I use a quarter strength because I have that available all the time in the water. Yes, and as long as you have the oxygen thing to help it, you are good.
Repeat the question. Repeat the question.
How many do I root in my hydroponics system? I can't give a specific number. The reason is mine takes 36. I root 36 at a time. But as each of them matures to be uprooted, I remove them and then root new ones. Right now, I just got some cuttings a few days ago. So I'm almost covered again. So all through the year, I'm just rooting feed cuttings. Yes. And then in winter, if you have lights, by the time they mature enough, you uprot them, put them under light. You are rooting all through the year with hydroponics. Yes. You are.
Yeah, that's another advantage of hydroponics is year round. So, and again, when you do that with soil, I guarantee you're going to get fungus gnats. If you bring soil into the house, you will lose a lot of cuttings. So that's, again, another advantage. That's the thing I love about hydroponics. Low maintenance, low risk, and ability to do year-round rooting. Yeah, question?
What about water temperature?
Water temperature doesn't seem to matter. I know some people online think that warmer water helps.
use cold water.
He doesn't have any difference either. There are some people that swear warmer water helps, but I question, like for me, think about it, that water is going through your hot water heater, and who knows what's in there, right, kind of stuff, gunk, or, I don't know. I'm just, this works for me, so I don't need to, I just use tap water. And pH doesn't seem to, it has no bearing on this. The pH of the water, yeah, I've tested it, has no relevance. Again, this you'll see. I mean, when you can come up and look at it after 2 weeks. It's almost like it's unbelievable, right? The fact that you have this many roots after just a couple weeks. It's impossible to do that with soil. I've never seen this kind of results with soil. So, but I do. My second go-to method is put it in a cup, and I didn't bring any, but just a plastic cup from like Quick Trip or Racetrack, and with some well-draining soil, and getting it to a ratio. I like to use 5-to-1 ratio with soil to water, but obviously I can't. The problem with that is I have to keep it outside. I can't do that stuff year round. So what I do is I stick it in one of my sheds that's cooler, dark shed. Stick it in a cup. 2-3 weeks, I might start to see some root development, and I'll put it in another space that has a little more light. And then maybe 4 to 8 weeks, I'll have a rooted cutting. So that's my second best go-to method. I am doing that method as well right now, but I usually try to do that May through August-ish. So, is there another question somewhere? Yeah.
I was asking about hydroponics. Your boss is just about the cup, but do you do this in darkness or do you do it with grow lights?
Great question. Yeah, I actually. So I have I have pages and pages of notes. I'm going to do a write-up and post it on rfigs.com and also on the Facebook Atlanta, the Figs of Atlanta group. It's going to be a several-page write-up with pictures and videos and answering way more than just the questions that we're talking about here. But your question was,
do you do this in darkness,
in
or
darkness,
do you do it
yes.
with grow lights?
So I do start out in darkness, and then after a couple weeks, I have a LED lamp that I move it under. Yeah, as soon as I start to see leaves. And again, 2 weeks ago, there were no leaves on any of these, and look at them now, right? They're just going crazy. Is there another question? Okay. Yeah.
When you up pot, do you leave the plug on there, or do you remove the plug?
Oh no, this is just the foam. Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as these come
I
out,
have seen where they planted the whole plug into the pot.
Yeah, some do that. I don't see any reason to. I reuse mine, so I put another batch in when I have pot. So. All right. I think that's it for rooting. Fertilization. So, and another method of propagation is called air layering. So if you don't know what air layering is, you essentially take a branch off of a fairly mature tree and score it, girdle it. So, again, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, too many details. There's tons of information of this online, but the high level is you injure the bark, right? You score it, and then you put one of these. This is just one way to do it. It's not the only way. I like these little pods. So you put a little bit of soil in. There's a black side and there's a clear side, so you can see the roots. So and obviously there's one end for branch, and it's a clamshell type, so it goes around there. I wrap this with foil to keep the roots from burning up from the sun, right? To keep it cool. And you want to have the soil nice and moist. And that actually is my absolute favorite method. Not this, it's this. This, I have 100% success rate with this. I have not had an air layer fail yet. It's very easy to do. Yeah, you can even mess it up and it still works. I've messed up some and I still.
Air layer.
What's it called again?
Air
It's
layer.
called air layering. Now there's also ground layering. If you have an in-ground tree that has a branch going sideways and it's hugging the ground, it's sticking the grass, you can just kick some dirt up over that, score it, and then you can create a ground layer too. Same concept. And in 4 to 6 weeks, you'll have roots, and you can cut it and make another tree off of it. So that's my favorite method for propagation. you can't be doing this in March or, obviously from September to March. You don't want to be doing air layers or ground layers. I stopped doing them like by October 1st because again, you need 4 to 6 weeks, and then you're getting into our frost, right? So you could get some roots and then hit a frost and then kill it. So I hope to be safe. I say October 1st ish, roughly. But you have plenty of time, plenty of months to do that. Good question. All right. So I think that's it for propagation. Watering, basically, it depends whether you're in ground or container. Obviously, if it's in ground, you don't need to worry as much, but you should be watering in grounds. Obviously, Kinte just covered the importance of irrigation. I have over 150 trees, so irrigation is a must-have for that. I would spend all of my time watering every day. So I set mine up on a timer, and life is good. When I only had a dozen or so trees, I could hand water, and there's no problem. But irrigation is good. You want to be watering, regardless of what method you use. You should be watering, especially if they're in containers, once, maybe twice a day, especially June, July, August. You want to be, again, minimum daily, but some, depending on the situation, twice daily, depending on how much you're doing, right? You don't want to drown the pot too. You want to get just enough to give a deep soak, and then if it dries up by, if you do that in the morning and then afternoon, it's dried up again, that's when you would hit it again with a second. Yeah.
You're going to talk about fertilization.
Fertilization, yes, that's a great segue into fertilization. Kenton?
It also depends on your soil. Different soil mixtures hold different amounts of water. So you have to figure out, how much water your soil holds.
Very important. Yeah, you need to know your different types of soil mixtures retain water differently, right? So if you have a fast draining mix, then you might need to water more often. If it's more intensive, then not quite so much. All right. So yes, fertilization. Another thing I want to mention, there's a product here called mycorrhiza, and so this is a fungus. It is a game changer. If you are, whether you're a novice or you're a veteran grower, this stuff is awesome. So I use this for everything whenever I'm transplanting. Air layers, I put it in my air layer pods. I put it, not in here, but when I'm up potting, I always soak. It's a powder, so you just take a scoop out and I just sprinkle a whole bunch on the roots and the area where the soil goes, and it makes the roots go crazy. So this is good stuff. This is like, I think, $20 on Amazon, and it'll last you a whole season at least. So inexpensive and very, very effective. So fertilizer. Everyone, this is one of those, just like rooting, everyone has their own special sauce or special, no one way is perfect, right? I can share how I do it, but that's not the only good way. There's many, many good ways. There's so many different ways to provide nutrients to our big trees. And I think, and I've seen messages on this on forum where people tend to go a little, in general, overkill. So we tend to overdo it, I think, with fertilization. I know I did when I started out. I was doing limestone and oyster shells and calcium and all of this stuff. A lot of it, if you do too much, it could actually backfire on you. Well, two things: it could backfire on you and actually damage, like hurt the tree if you overdo it, or if it rains a lot, then all that stuff you put in, whether it's slow release or soluble, it just gets washed out, right? And so heavy rains and everything ends up, getting diluted. So for me, I prefer a mixture. I use slow release. So in the top of my pots, I put some of this, which is all-purpose Miracle Grow Shake and Feed. So this will last most of the season. But I will reapply this soon, actually, first week of August. And then I also use, I didn't bring the bag, but Osmocote Plus. There's two versions of Osmocote. There's Classic and there's Osmocote Plus. I recommend the latter because the nutrients align better for fig trees. So I put some of that.
Watch, what are the numbers it's called next?
I just got too, like not doing too hot.
We just moved to Duluth in May, so like we started off like with our old turkey from the we used to live in Canada, but now we have like 30 pigs in the ground.
All right.
Really crazy.
076.
Who's got one that's got a pig on it in picture?
We saw your poster like strawberry.
Oh yes, that is a cardinal flower.
091.
What's left?
095.
Yeah, that's not. We got 9.5. Okay, where's it? It's gone already.
068.
This is for my neighbor. I'll pass.
100.
I'm in Locust Grove.
Okay, yeah. It's south of Griffin, right? No.
Yeah, well, it's kind of east of Griffin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, east of Griffin.
Yeah, I'll probably post it.
No.
Follow it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people left, yeah.
There's a bunch of people new in there showing.
Because Locust Grove was a bit far from us. And there's no shading, is that okay? That's why we go.
I mean,
I
you're
don't know
gonna be
what
in
it
the,
is.
you're gonna do better in the sun. I'm sure.
65.
Oh, yeah.
Partial shade. They do okay.
This is an unknown one. It came from.
That's actually mine.
What number? 61.
61.
And then when would I transfer it? Chris Daddy would probably tell
Up to you.
Flower.
It's beautiful.
Julio's your dad.
Yeah.
Persimmons. And then this is fairground thing. So this is kind of like they'll have. Is this the early? And then I've got kiwis.
75, which is us, that we're going to pass. All right. 63. Woohoo! 63. 63 for the pass. 64.
64.
64.
Does anybody have one?
Everybody has a tree. Every family has a tree.
And there's like
Yeah, they
3
do.
or 4
They're doing the for the tags, like the balloon tag things. And then
Anybody know the name of this?
yeah.
Those are unknown.
What are you looking for? Sorry.
Everything on this over here is unknown.
Yeah, these are all unknowns. It's a
Fairground unknown.
It does do a regular crop.
And here's another.
74.
Go with unknown.
That's the last of the fig trees.
That's the last of the fig trees. No, there's one left. That's pawpaw.
The rest is pawpaw, kiwi, and
Pawpaw, kiwi. All right. 85. 85. 85.
85?
Would you like anything?
Anything else up? You want pawpaw or okay?
Or the pawpaw.
70.
There, percentage right here. You choose whatever you want to do. 70.
70. 070. No 070.
It's me, but these are all mine.
These are yours. All right. And 3 ticks left. 94, 72,
88.
and 88.
Yeah. There's nothing for me.
What? Yeah. The whole body's really. I've not seen it.
So then you're throwing them all back in for the. So hang on to it, let them know.
All right, so hang on to your tickets. This one's going to be much faster. This one is going to be for the 20 laser engraved fig tags. You'll need to contact Kerwin. We will give you that flyer. We'll give you that flyer. Contact Kerwin, copy me on the email. Tell him what tags you want, and he will, and what color, and he will mail them to you.
So this
you want to get thrown into that one? Okay.
It's
All right.
really pretty red. And then these are persimmons. I don't know if this is male or female, so he's got planning on with kiwi. Yeah, red kiwi.
082
And they're like,
for the tags. 082.
Yeah, they get proof.
Chad,
So
082?
082.
Yeah, I don't have anything on
You got tags.
Oh.
You got the laser fig tags. All right, last one, last raffle for this handmade bowl.
It'll take you almost 2 hours. Almost 3. Almost 3.
Okay, what number?
069. 069.
Woohoo! So close, but yet so far away.
August?
Yeah.
Do you want to take any of that stuff home with you?
No.
All right, so all numbers have been called. If there's anything left on the table that you would
This
like,
is a
you are welcome to
it
it.
blooms like red. It's really pretty. And then these are persimmons. You won't know the specs for a couple years on the persimmons. So
Yeah, that's cool.
cardinal flower. It's a really pretty red. Just the native variety here. I grew from seeds. There's more in the bag.
Messenger.
Yeah, lucky I get the ones that I don't have to do for free, which is great. But hopefully. What is that? What is it? What is this?
Oh, it's a flower.
Costa, any followers?
Okay. Love it. But anyways,
Okay, thanks for coming out, everyone. So now we are going to open it up. If anyone wants to do like open Q&A, if there's certain topics you want to talk about, we can kind of congregate in this area. If there's something that's pressing on your mind, like, you know, what variety should I get, or any kind of tips you're looking for, let's do that. Outside of that, you're free to continue doing your trades and head out at your convenience whenever you feel that the event has officially concluded. But again, feel free to hang around if you have questions. We're here to help. So come out to the tent. And there's plenty of food left, so help yourself to.
We'll take my cookies.
Yeah,
Coffee cookies.
please come and take the homemade cookies. What's your name?
Oh, Margaret.
Margaret made. Yeah, come and.
There's not too much.
Coffee
There's not
cookies.
too much in
Sounds
it.
yummy.
Less than a cup for sure in like the whole batch, I think. I would say.
It's great to meet you. Thank you. Here's my card.
that's no problem.
It's like espresso.
Take care.
Bad for the recipe. It doesn't.
That's the first time I ever won anyway.
Okay.
Not just about real estate, but also training.
So you do real estate trading?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do that space.
Yeah, you can. Until we plant it.
Well, let me. Well, this is my beautiful wife, Terry. This is your first time attending a fig event.
Yes.
What do you have to say about this fig event?
Very informative. Met some wonderful people and got some wonderful knowledge about figs and a lot of reasons that I didn't know, even though my husband grows a lot of figs.
So is this an event that you love to be attending?
I would love to be attending it with you.
That's good because there is one for next month.
Okay.
In our city.
In our city.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you won a victory.
You won a victory. I want to give it to you.
Well, the victory is for us.
Yes.
But it was your number that won the victory. And
Yes.
this is the victory she won. Black Mission. This is it. Black Mission fig. Black Mission. She won a tree coming for the first time. So we just want to thank you for watching this video. Please like this video, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell that every time I upload new video you will be notified. Thank you. And this is the end of the fig event.
If you're heading
All right.
out,
Hopefully, we will see you next year for Fig A Rama. Bye.